Okay, welcome back to another episode of the pre-alpha world. I starting this episode with a time lapse of me building these sort of spider legs that come out of the bottom ring of the observatory and attached to the iron gate. And the reason I didn't make a actual intro to this episode with me actually in the game is because this footage was recorded as background footage for a Cosmic Reach building contest I wanted to do called Cosmic Soup. I made the video, I wrote the script, I spent 4 hours building that video, and then I released it, and I released the contest on Discord and everything, and I let it sit overnight, and it just wasn't sitting right in my head. There was something about it. Either it was too early to do something like that, or I also felt like it was a little bit too much stress, because I feel like I've been releasing a ton of videos recently, and it's just kind of a little bit overwhelming. So I think I'll wait to do something like that for a while, maybe until the community grows a little bit more and the game isn't so primitive. And then I didn't really have too many rules or strict guidelines in place that needed to be followed, so I could see a lot of problems popping up. So I think I'll try that again later, and yeah, get back to it at some future point. But for now, on with the video. Alright, so we're done with the legs, the 4 spider legs on the first ring of the observatory, and they look pretty good. If we change the time of day, they're not lit up with drone lighting like the first ring is, and I only put 1 column of red lights on them. I think that's enough. I don't think they need to be lit up because they're not meant to be walked on. I guess they could be walked on, but you never know how the outside of these rings is going to change. Maybe I'll have some kind of barrier to stop people from falling off. And if I did have some kind of barrier, then it would also go over the top of this leg here, so you wouldn't be able to walk out here anyway. So it doesn't bother me that it's not lit up. I may do something fancy with the lighting, like more white rings, like on the shaft of the observatory, but for now I'm just going to leave it alone. So let's switch back to Space Day. And one thing, it took me a while to decide on the size of the rings for the circle generator, because I needed the legs to come out far enough and downward enough to be able to be just a short ways off the lunar surface here on all 4 sides, but also be far enough so that it's not touching this lava moat. And I think this is just about perfect because it's 5 blocks away, which is just outside the lava moat. And the side of this quarter circle that I made here is perfectly aligned with the iron wall. And so what I'm thinking is that perhaps I'll have a secondary wall. So I'll build up another iron wall on this side of the lava, just as like an inner wall, and then you have an outer wall as well. So for example, I visited a prison recently where I used to live, I guess, because I just moved. And they had an inner wall, and then they also had an outer wall, because it was a maximum security prison. And I was thinking that'd be an interesting idea for something like this. So you have your outer wall, and then you have the magma lake, and then you have your drawbridge, kind of, that goes to the outer wall and then exits into the wilderness, I guess. And so I think I'm going to make another, probably like the same size, just so that it links up with these legs. Maybe I can change something about it, but I think it'd be pretty cool to be in this location here. You're in between 2 gigantic metal walls, and it kind of feels like you're in a secure zone. I don't know, just something interesting. So I think I'm going to do that now. All right, another time lapse. I'm thinking that this is honestly the correct way to do things. I know that back in the day when I used to watch these long-form sort of Let's Play videos that were popular, maybe 2011, 2012, 2013, a little bit before that even, 2014 maybe, stretching it there. At some point it became more short-form, shorter attention span kind of videos. And but now I'm sort of adopting that old video making style of just building stuff, and it's not super interesting, but I don't think it's super boring either, and it's fun for me personally, so it allows me to actually have fun with the game, do what I want to do whenever I want to do it, and the editing is pretty quick and simple while still being effective. And I sat down for a few months before making this channel because I wanted to make a gaming channel anyway. But I was thinking, how can I make this not a waste of time and not a huge editing process and add stress to and change up my lifestyle to where I have to be focused on speaking while I'm playing games, and then I'll just end up not wanting to play the games in the first place. And I think I struck a good chord here, a good balance, especially with this game coming out at such a convenient time for me. Phew! Alright, so there it is. We have the outer wall done. It's all built up. It's the same exact thing as the inner wall. I did have some problems, you probably saw during the time lapse, with me trying to figure out why this leg right here wasn't matching with the outside wall. It was inward by 1. It was landing right here. And I played around with the shapes of the circles for a while and found out that this entire hemisphere, or semicircle, from there all the way to there, was 1 block off. It was missing, I think, instead of doing 3 and then 3 and then 2, it was doing 3 and then 2, or something like that on both sides. So I had to bump them out this way 1 block, and bump this entire leg out this way to the right 1 block, so that everything's uniform again. That tends to happen when you're making circles. If they're very big, they're just difficult to make. It's error prone, very easy to make mistakes. And one thing I realized now is that I kind of re-inherited the problem of being able to hop onto this outer wall and now hop onto the inner wall. But I think I will deal with that later, because it's going to require digging another moat around the outer wall, or at least leveling things out. And another thing you'll notice is that I changed the red light right here with a white light. Because it's an inner wall, it's more safe. And I moved the red light to the outer wall because it signifies that you're kind of entering a danger zone. And if I change this to dark night, you can kind of see the difference. So if you're inside the walls and you look at the lighting, it's white, so it looks nice. It looks safer, I guess. And then as soon as you wink, as soon as you step out, you start to get a mix of the white and the red. And this entire area between these walls is red, and then you have your red light going outwards into the world, which is pretty cool. I like how the color kind of represents what's safe and what's dangerous. And you do have the red light from the magma shining through, or wrapping over the tops of these blocks. And you also have a little bit of shine through the corners here. I can fix this, I think, by lining this inner wall with something. Or, maybe I can't. Yeah, I'd have to make it thicker. So I might end up doing that. But I can also put, instead of doing that, I can put more lighting on the inside, which I'm going to do anyway, as it doesn't really affect the outer part here. If I don't make the wall thicker, you can see the white light shining through, but that's totally fine. But more importantly, I don't want the red light to be shining through to the inner wall, so I'm probably going to be putting inner lighting on the inside of this ring here, and then you can't see the red at all. And I suppose I should mention, I don't think I mentioned it before, the reason I wanted to add these legs is because I wanted some kind of... So we have the observatory, which is the middle structure that overlooks everything, but I wanted some kind of secure connection from the observatory to the ground, basically. So it just looks architecturally more sound. And this doesn't look architecturally sound, really, at all, but with the legs, it's kind of more believable that this thing would be held up with support from the moon surface. Honestly, even without legs on the middle ring and the upper ring, it looks good, because it looks like at least the base is supported. And last time I was talking about how this crater wasn't exactly centered with my walkway. It's one block shifted to the left. I found out that the dimensions of the crater it is spherical. It is generated spherically, so there is a center, which is right here. But I had to kind of... You can see that my snow path is 1 block shifted to the right. And so my measurement with these metal blocks ends 1 block before the side of the crater. And I had to dig out an extra block on this side of the crater here. So I'm going to have to dig out 1 wall block of this entire crater on this side, and then fill in 1 wall block of the entire crater on this side, which shouldn't be too much of a problem. And then I think I'm going to flatten out all of the insides here so I can make that museum or gallery or whatever I'm going to call it for the pre-alpha blocks. And I've seen a few videos. I mean, back in the... I don't really watch a lot of gaming videos anymore on YouTube. I mostly just watch kind of meta commentaries and retrospectives and reflections and analyses and things like that. But back in the day, when I did watch gaming videos, I really liked when, or particularly Minecraft videos, I liked when people would go back to older versions and build these sort of galleries with, that's kind of showcases each of the individual blocks, and that's where I get this idea from for Cosmic Reach. Assuming that this game continues its implementation as it's going, I think that having a world like this with everything on display for a particular, you know, category of versions like pre-alpha, alpha, beta, or however it goes is going to be pretty valuable. And I'm going to be able to look back on these videos fondly and have and feel like the world is genuinely complete. It's a complete representation of what we had at the time when the game was in this state. And I really don't think that there's going to be a ton to this world. I think there's going to be this gallery. I think there's going to be all the middle stuff, maybe a few things outside of that, and then that'll likely be it, because we don't have a ton of game mechanics to work with anyway. Alright, so I went through and I evened everything out, made it a better spherical shape, and shifted everything one block this way, so it aligns with the observatory perfectly. And the hole itself is 29 by 29 blocks. So if I was to start with a block here and hit the other wall, that would be 29 blocks this way. Same thing with the other direction. I'm not sure what to do with the flooring, I'm not sure what to do with the walls, I'm not sure what to do inside that tunnel there, if I should leave it 3x4, or if I should revert back to being 3x3, and what kind of lighting I should put in here. Just different design decisions. So we're going to be placing every single one of these blocks in the inventory, so all 3 of these tabs, somewhere in this room. And it may need to be the case where we need to make multiple levels vertically. So maybe we'll have an upstairs level, maybe we'll have glass on the ceiling, and then we'll have this main level, and then maybe we'll even have a level below us. That'd be pretty cool with some lighting shining up from below. And then perhaps we could even continue off in that direction and create more stuff. But I'm not going to continue off in that direction right now because there's really no point. I have this project to do, and then of course we still have everything in this main area to do. All of the stuff that needs to be built on the snow, everything else inside the shaft, the head of the observatory, which I really want to get to because I feel like that's just a blatantly obvious missing component of the observatory. And then I want to decide on what to do with the rings as well. So there's a lot to do, and I want to finish all of it before I start venturing out more. And that's it for this video, so thank you for watching.